All
Yay.
right. Hey, everybody. We are here for the first live stream of our Save the Cat experiment. We are going to get started. This is our first live stream, and Bethany is here with me, and we're going to introduce ourselves in just a second. We're going to get this going. We're going to be talking about creating our hero. That's where we are going to start. But just to introduce ourselves a little bit, I'm going to go first, then Bethany, and we would love for you guys to introduce yourself in the comments. There's a ton of you there already. We would love to hear a little bit about you as a writer, as a person, and what is your favorite story trope? Let us know that in the comments. But let's get going. If you guys don't know me, this is my channel, so hopefully you do. But my name is Brittany Wang. I'm an author of an upcoming YA fairy fantasy series, and I'm so excited to be doing this with my critique partner, Bethany. So Bethany, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. Hi, guys. So my name is Bethany. Atazada, sorry.
I almost forgot my last name too.
I always forget my last name. But I am the author of right now YA science fiction and soon to be fantasy and nonfiction. So that's really fun. And yeah, I'm trying to remember what else I was supposed to say. Be cool. We are the co-creators of the STC experiment. So that's exciting. That's a brand new thing.
Wow.
And we are just so excited for you guys to be a part of this.
Yeah. So a bunch of you already know what this is, but if you're watching this on the replay or you just popped on and you're like, what the heck are we doing? Let us tell you a little bit. We're going to do some housekeeping things before we get into actually plotting. But yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about it. The Save the Cat experiment is a 10-week outlining series that we're doing live here on YouTube every Wednesday from this Wednesday all the way into May, where we are taking the Save the Cat Writes a Novel book, which is right here, and We Love So Much by Jessica Brody. And a bunch of you have purchased it already and read the first 2 chapters. If you guys have read the first 2 chapters, let us know that in the comments too. But we have loved this method of outlining books and writing books and just making great stories. And we wanted to put it to the test. So we are going to be doing this experiment where we take the different steps in the book every week and we plot a series with you live from scratch, and it's going to be a little scary and a little like, oh, I hope we can do this, but we just believe in this method so much, and we think with all of your guys' help, it's going to be super, super fun. So again, it's going to be every Wednesday for 10 weeks, starting today at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to actually let Bethany do a few other housekeeping details as well.
Yes, awesome. So we talked about how this is an outlining video, but then we also were chatting before we started this, and we were like, you know what, this whole book, this whole structure of story applies to literally any part of the writing process. So like late last night, I was telling Brittany, I was sitting there reading to prepare for today, and I was getting all these ideas for how I could edit my novel and like fix my main character in a book that's already written. And so like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can give her so many more flaws and all this stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. So we just wanted you guys to know that whatever stage you're in, it's going to be helpful. We also wanted you to know that if you're watching the replay, it's super helpful as well. And you can still send us comments after. You can just like pop them in anytime. We'll be checking them throughout the week. And I don't know, it's going to be really cool. We talked about Camp NaNoWriMo is coming up. And so this is the perfect time to start plotting your novel so that you're ready to write it. And it's going to kind of go over camp a little bit, but that's okay because you can always replot later as you go and maybe use this video to, I don't know, Brittany, what do you think? They can kind of like use the video to like replot as they're writing it maybe even?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you guys can definitely plot ahead of us, but then you can come back to these and use the tips that we are talking about to sort of.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sweet. Do we have anything else that we want to say? Yeah, so definitely if you're watching this on the replay, engage with us in the comments because a lot of these type videos, for those of you that are live with us especially, we're going to be brainstorming, but we're not going to be making any final decisions until like in a few days after the live stream. And so if you want to leave us comments down below to let us know your thoughts or suggestions for the story plot, then we will definitely consider those as well.
Yes. Definitely.
And yeah, you just want to make sure, as we're getting started, guys, to make sure you're subscribed to both my channel and Bethany's channel, because we will be on Bethany's channel next week. We're sort of going to go back and forth. You want to make sure to sign up for our newsletter so you get notifications, and you also get access to the private page on our website, where you get access to the actual outline as it develops. So we'll be updating that. And all of those links are down below. And you can also use the hashtag STC experiment, specifically on Instagram. A lot of people are using that there, but also on Twitter. So yeah.
Woohoo!
Also, at the very end, Bethany, do you want to give like just a little sneak peek that why they want to stay till the very end?
Oh, a sneak peek? I'll probably give it away if I do that.
Don't do that.
Big announcement. That's pretty much all we can say. That has to do with this.
Yes.
Is that too revealing? That's not revealing. Hopefully.
We teased this out on our Instagrams earlier, and yeah, we just got some like really exciting news that has to do with our experiment. And so you want to stay till the end. We're gonna try to end before 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then we will share the announcements. Super exciting. Okay, I think we're ready to get going. Do we have anything else?
This is the time when we're gonna wing it now. We're gonna see what happens.
And I also see some people asking, is this a write-in? This is not a write-in. We are plotting, and we are going through again some details in this book to plot our books and strengthen our plot. But doing a write-in possibly at the end of all of this might be fun, like at the end of the series. So, all right. There's so many comments, you guys. I don't know that we can go back and address them all, but we are going to, now be interacting with you guys and figuring out the first part of our new plot. Or for you guys, if you have a plot, you can be applying this to your idea. But we are going to focus this episode on creating the hero. So if you read the first 2 chapters of this book, the whole first chapter was about really strengthening your hero and making sure that they are story worthy, basically making sure that there is a meaning sort of behind your book. You can have an A story, which is like the premise and the exciting sort of interesting, unique things that are happening in your book that a lot of people pick up a book for, but they always want to sort of get to the end of the book because the character is going through a transformational journey. Right, Bethany?
Yes, and we want to make sure that they have a ton of problems. I think that was the biggest thing that stood out to me. You guys should let us know in the comments what was like your favorite part of the book so far and what you've read so far. But for me, this last read through, it really hit me how they've got to have a problem for there to be a story, because they need something to, like, they need a transformation. They need that journey that they go along. And so we're just really excited. Brittany and I were talking and we're like, this is going to be really messy. So we just want to warn you right now. It's going to be really messy as we kind of just figure this out, because we've never outlined together before. I've never outlined with anybody before. So it's going to be fun. And you get to see our process, but also maybe we can learn from your process. So definitely interact with us in the comments.
For sure. Cool. Okay. And while we do this as well, so Jessica Brody sort of focuses on like 3 main things for the most part. Your hero has a problem, a want, and a need. And so we're going to try to use this episode again to brainstorm those things. And with that, we're sort of going to have to figure out too a little bit about our character, what makes them unique. And there's a few things that Bethany and I sort of wanted to start off with. And so we did like a tiny bit of brainstorming earlier today, and we have a couple of things that we would love to sort of have. So first of all is we would love this to be a young adult fantasy novel, because both of us really love writing that. A lot of you are really excited about that. The second thing was to have 2 main characters, because if we end up writing this book, which we might if we really enjoy it, then we'd love to do dual POVs. So we were thinking having 2 female main characters, and then we were trying to like think up also like what is the world like, what are the creatures or the fantastical characters like, and people groups. So we were saying as we were like going back and forth that when you are starting to plot a book, you either sort of start with like the idea and the world and the concept, and maybe like the character, a little bit about them, and then you sort of figure out what is the theme and what, is like the heart of your story. Or you can figure out and start with the heart of your story and like the themes that Jessica Brody sort of outlines in the first chapter, and sort of create a character and a world from there. So, oh gosh, there's so many comments. Bethany, how did we want to sort of start this off, and then we can go from there.
We were gonna chat with them and just see if they wanted us to start more on the character side or on the world side. Because I don't know about you guys, but Brittany and I have both started almost. I think all of our writing has come from the world first, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So we don't totally know. At least I don't. To be honest, I don't know what it looks like to start with just a character and then put them into a world. I'm not sure what that would look like, but we wanted to kind of see where you guys wanted to start. Should we start with the character or figure out the world a little bit and then get to the character? So let us know.
Let us know in the
for character, 1 vote for world, 1 vote for character. Okay.
Character. Oh,
They're gonna make us do the hard stuff and start with the character. I love
okay. Leslie is saying do the character first, then the problem, then the world.
Okay. Yeah. And while you guys are answering, maybe we can hop back to your favorite parts of Save the Cat quick, because I'll just read a couple. I won't do all because I know we're gonna try to like keep this moving really quick.
Yeah.
The log line in the synopsis was really fun. Yeah, if you guys haven't got that far in Save the Cat, it actually helps you like write a synopsis for your book, but also a log line, which is a little different. That was so fun. As a pantser, a different method was draining. So if you're a pantser, Keelan, I still think you get a lot out of Save the Cat because it's pretty loose. Like you can make it as loose or as structured as you want. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she was saying too that you could like pants the novel, but then use Save the Cat to like strengthen it and pace it well and to like structure it a little.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you could come back to it for editing. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The A and B stories merging. That's cool too. Oh, Brittany, it looks like they all want us to start with character.
Okay. All right. So as we're starting with character, definitely let us know what kind of character you would like to see. We did print out, there was a survey that for everybody who signed up for our newsletter, we sort of sent out a survey where a lot of you sent us all of your ideas, and just your favorite tropes and different things. So we do have a few of those kind of notes, but what about the character would you love to see, or the 2 characters that you would love to see happen? And also, we had just, as we're thinking about the character and like the heart of that character and what they're going to learn through the story, we have 3 top themes that you guys voted for in the survey as well. So I'm just going to list those off in case that like sort of sparks anything for you. Number 1 was voted for was fear. So the theme of overcoming fear, conquering fear, finding courage. The second most voted for theme was love. So includes self-love, family love, romantic love. And the third theme that you guys are really excited about was acceptance. So acceptance of self, of circumstances, or of reality. So again, we have fear, love, and acceptance. So again, that might sort of give you some ideas. All right, let's see. We've got some thoughts here.
And I was gonna say if we start with their inner world and who they are, we can definitely give them like their ultimate need, and then kind of work our way backwards. If you're looking at Save the Cat, like Brittany said, she starts problem, want, and need are kind of like your 3 things to figure out, and we're gonna work our way backwards. So we're gonna start with the need.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I know that personally, while you guys are answering this, I've found that I write a lot about acceptance. I don't know what your themes have been so far, Brittany.
Mm-hmm. I think it like always sort of comes back to that, even if it is something else, especially with like coming of age stories and young adult stories. I just feel like a lot of young adults are learning how to accept themselves and who they really are.
Such a good point. So it is kind of like a very common theme. So would it be fun? Like, would it be fun to do something different than what we're used to? Kind of stretch ourselves. So, like, for me, fear would be the one. Oh, Haley says she likes the fear one a lot.
Okay.
And angry too. That's awesome. See, for me, that's a stretch. I don't know how I would write that, but that could be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how crazy do we want to be?
Yeah. Um,
Everybody's saying fear. I love it.
all right, so maybe we go with that.
That's really
Let's see.
cool.
Sean is also saying I really like when a character has connection to animals, so that could be something that we can weave in here.
Mhm.
Um,
Definitely.
sisters. Okay, so Fallon says sisters in some kind of struggle. So we were thinking possibly that our characters, our two female characters, could be sisters. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna throw out some ideas here too. That like the sisters could be living together at the beginning of the book. They could be at odds, or they could be best friends. They could be estranged and maybe not even know they're sisters, but somewhere in the book they figure out that they're sisters. Um, or they could be not sisters, but they could be like heirs of different sort of groups, people groups, or whatever, and they could then be at odds, but maybe they were friends when they were younger, and now that they're at odds, something. I don't know. What do you guys think of
It could
that?
also be adopted. I feel like that was one that we were throwing out a while back.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh gosh, so fast, you guys. Um, Bethany, if you see any that you like, just read them out.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of people saying yes to sisters and
Okay.
not knowing that they're sisters. I've got 2 for that, and a separated and an estranged. 2
Yeah.
estranged. Ooh,
On the opposite sides of the conflict too. I like that. Yep.
yeah. So, if the main theme was fear, if it is, we're not, like, committing to anything in this video, but if it is, would that be, like, an older sister problem or a younger sister problem?
That's right. Because they could, yeah, because one
Or
has
they
to be
both
older unless they're twins.
have. Ooh,
Um,
I didn't even think of that.
I always love playing with twins. Twins are here, let's see. I just want to read some of it. Maybe look at her job, which shows personality and can help create a problem. So, okay, so one of them could have like an occupation too that could create a problem. Um, could we do a girl character that's shy and weak and then a strong and then get stronger in the book? I'm struggling with that. Oh, yeah, no, we could like that could be part of one of the sisters' journey.
Yeah.
Julia says, I think fear could be really interesting, maybe between sisters. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm too far back.
Good.
Somebody's asking about the survey. You can sign up for the newsletter, which is linked down below, and then you get access to the private page where you can take the survey.
So many people like twins. I feel like that's harder to write, but it could be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the estranged part. I'm seeing a lot of people want them to like. So you guys are thinking like you don't want them to know each other at all, or you want them to know each other but not realize they're related. Maybe.
Yeah.
Which way are we leaning?
It could be on opposite sides, or it could be like it's not Oliver Twist. What's the Tale of Two Cities or something, where like one's rich and one's poor, but they end up being. I can't remember if those characters are twins or not, but like that kind of idea.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
Opposite sides of the conflict can show that neither side is completely evil or good. Yeah, and so like if we wanted to play with fear, we could do sort of like one side, maybe both sides fear each other and hate each other because of fear. So we could have like the external conflict of like the people groups or like the class groups sort of like fearing and like hating each other, and then these girls could end up like taking that on and maybe having like their own internal fears about something specific. And then as they're sort of overcoming the greater sense of fear in their cultures, they could then also have to address like the inner fears.
I love it. I love it. Because you're like we were talking about, it plays with the whole, even though it's the main character that has the problem, really it's like a big world problem. And that kind of like doubles down on something that's like the heart of the story.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Cool.
kind of an external cultural fear on both sides, which reminds me of what earlier today, you guys, Brittany and I talked for just like a couple minutes about like just some prompts that we could look at if we were running dry, which I don't think we will. I don't know if you want to show them that prompt with the water versus dirt.
Yes. Here, I can just read it here. Yeah, so it said we just got this on like a website. I think we searched like fantasy story prompts or something, and one of them in the list was water versus dirt. There are two major groups of people who live on the planet: the water people, who use water for everything, and the dirt people who use dirt for everything. I guess. Can they learn to coexist peacefully, or will their entire world become mud?
Mud. I didn't read to the end of it either. That's so funny.
That's awesome. So I don't know, yeah, exactly if we will do water and mud or dirt.
Probably not those.
But it's an idea. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so many comments. You guys are awesome. Are you guys having fun? I know we're like sort of going through this fast and like messily, but let us know if you're having fun. Twins, maybe the one that knows is scared of the other finding out that they are related. Okay, so there could be a fear of like maybe one of them knows, but maybe the other one doesn't. Bruna, yes, one wants to destroy the other and they don't know that they're related. Okay, yes.
Oh, wow.
What if like
one is more powerful than the other? Like maybe to use the water dirt analogy, which we're not going to do, but to use that analogy of two sides and like people groups, maybe dirt's like, I'm way stronger. I don't know.
Something like that, yes. Yeah. Well, but then, so I'm thinking, I don't know if any of you have watched Dragon Prince. It's like a new anime / cartoon kind of thing on Netflix. But it is so fun and really great. But so like there's like an elf culture that like hates the humans and the humans hate the elves. And the elves, one of the elves teenagers is like sent to like go kill the king, but then she ends up like, it's not like a sister or brother thing, but like she ends up realizing that what she's doing is wrong, and like, you know, she like bonds with like the son of the king and blah 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 blah. They go on like this whole epic journey. It's a really cool TV show. You should watch it if you haven't already. But yeah, it could be like one of the sisters is like hired or like sent to like kill the other sister or something.
Ooh, oh, I like that. I love that actually. It's intense. That's a conflict.
Yeah, big conflict. Then Mary also says maybe as half sisters, one dad could have died, and then their mom bring them together after the one dad dies. Okay.
Ooh, like maybe like the catalyst in the story is like them finding out that they're sisters.
Right.
Oh, that's a good idea, Mary. I saw another idea somewhere, conflict between mermaids and fairies, aka water and air. I like that.
Oh. So the only thing, guys, that Bethany and I have been throwing around is that between us and between all the series, we've covered fairies, mermaids, dragons a little bit, so we could maybe play with that. Pirates. What else? Yeah. So we don't know that we want to like necessarily stick there, but we were thinking about elves and maybe dragons a little bit more too. And Katie messaged me about on one of my stories today, and she was like, what if you did shifters, which is like a shapeshifter? So like what if one of them was like a shapeshifter? That could be fun. Just some ideas.
So cool. That I totally would vote for that.
That would be really fun to play with.
And there's a dragon prince idea in here.
Okay.
Might have dragons in our stories already, guys. Just so
one could be, Haley says one could be the heir to the throne, but fears her sister could take over. So she tries to get her out of the way by not telling her they're related or something.
Ooh, I like that. If they're like actually in line for something, and maybe they almost swap. Do you guys like the stories where they swap places, where if they do know that they're related, they switch places and nobody else knows?
Right. That would be interesting.
So that would imply more of a relationship, though. So we kind of have to decide if they're afraid of each other, they probably don't have a good relationship.
Right.
So we would probably want to lean towards ideas that would separate them, maybe making them not identical if they were twins.
Right. Yes, totally. They could, because they can be, what's the other term? Not identical.
Fraternal?
Fraternal, yes.
Yeah.
Two sisters who were separated but given different elemental possessions. Man in the Iron Mask. Oh, yeah. That's sort of similar to what we're talking about for sure. Um, you said fear in sisters. One sister learned she is cursed and lived in fear because one wanted to hunt her down. Then some years later, it turns out that the other sister is cursed. Ooh. I
Ooh.
love I love the twists.
Yes.
Anytime we can put in twists, I'm all for it.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
So finding out, I'm gonna write that one down because I like that too.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to write all these down later and like go through because there's too much for me to write down right now.
Right. Best part of the book.
Maybe to play off of that idea, what if one of the sisters, okay, so you know how when twins are born, they'll come out and then there's like that story of Jacob and Esau where he stuck his foot out and then he pulled it back in and like so
Yeah.
like firstborn, but then actually the other baby came out first. So you could have like this whole scenario of their whole lives they think one is firstborn and has more power, but then it turns out it's the other one or something like that.
Right. Where there's like the misconception or just like the swap. I like that. Let's see. Bruna says now they know that they're sisters and they want to find a way to stop a prophecy. Oh, I missed something about a prophecy. We're gonna have to go. Oh, she said they can find out as a catalyst, but then they can do something. Right now, they are bound to kill each other. Oh, maybe there's like a prophecy that they're like supposed to kill each other or something, and then they like try to stop it. Um,
Keelan says, yes, let's parent trap this thing.
yeah,
I love it.
totally. Oh, this is interesting. Fallon says, I like the Dragon Prince idea. What if one sister falls for the guy in shift form and then the other falls for him in human form?
Ooh.
So then we're talking about love triangles here. And some of you were very adamant that you did not want love triangles. And some of you were like, please give me a love triangle. So for those of you that are live here, let us know what you think about all that stuff.
Yeah, 'cause it was tied. It was pretty tied.
Yeah. I would love to have, like some kind of romantic subplots
Mhm.
in here for sure.
Yeah.
Alira was just saying that her favorite part of the book was the hero's wants versus what the hero needs. So like she talks a lot about like the want is like them trying to like fix their problem the wrong way, and then their need is like fixing their problem the right way. And so yeah, we probably have to start transitioning soon and like talking about how we can maybe taking like one or two of these ideas and trying to like work them out.
I feel like we kind of need, so this is coming from my world building first side, but I kind of feel like I need more world to truly know how to put them into it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I just need to know probably, I don't know about you, but I was thinking like maybe the races, if we're going to have two, and if they are actually sisters, like physically, then how would they be in two races? Because that can be tricky. Or if it's not races, but it's like clans and factions and they get split up that way.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, because if like for example, if we went with shifters or elves or even like dragons or whatever, like yeah, it could be two different versions of them. Or somebody said they could be half,
Ooh.
so maybe like there is one of them that was like birthed from like the father in this version, but now they're like half elf, half shifter, mermaid, or whatever.
Yes. And then there's always I don't know if this would be called a trope, but there's that I've seen this somewhere where one side will believe that they should fully use whatever power, gift, or shape shifting ability that they have, and they're like all in, like let's be animals all the time. And then there's the other side that's like this must be used only in blah 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 certain circumstances and like very different. So that way, if they were all just shapeshifters, with elvish tendencies, maybe, then I don't know. Then they could go still two very different routes. I don't know what you guys think of that. Let me know if that's weird.
Yeah. No, I sort of like that. Okay, people are voting for love triangles or not. What if, just a quick thing about the love triangle, what if they start off liking the same guy, but then one of them realizes that like her best friend, guy friend, is like the one she really loves or something?
Yes.
So it starts off like love triangle-y, but then like they each have their own. I don't
I
know.
like that because
Happy endings for everybody.
yes, exactly. I like the happy endings. Love triangles are fun if everybody's still happy at the end. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone said maybe both the sisters are half of each race. That would be interesting.
Ooh, very interesting. So,
Um,
like, for instance, are you saying, like, maybe if, say, there was just people, but then they had a little bit of shapeshifter blood in them or something, and they both had it? Because then you could play with how they don't know they have it as
right,
well.
right. Oh, so many ideas. That's
I
another.
know.
So you just said humans or people or something. Like, do we? That's another thing. Like, because we could have like a fantasy type character, and then against the humans. So
Mhm.
that's like another. Like, do we want to have a human element or do we not?
That's a
Um,
really good question.
yeah.
Yes. What do you guys think? Do you prefer books that are like completely brand new worlds, or do you like it when it's kind of based on our world and like maybe the main characters are a little bit human? I feel like she said that in here somewhere. Like if you have options, pick the one that's most like you. Am I
Mhm.
remembering that right?
I think it's at the very end of that first chapter. While you're looking for it, I'm just going to read a couple of these. That's just
Sure.
said, Ingrid says, love the misunderstanding of who is the more powerful sister. Could be an interesting conflict if one sister realized she is powerful, but scared to say anything or shows it since it's not her place. Yeah, so like maybe the book starts off with one of them being uber powerful, but then it ends up that at the end, the other one is like the one, like the more shy or like uncertain character is like realizes she's the most powerful one.
Ooh, I love that because then you can play with the fear theme in reverse. So you've got one who acts like they're all confident and courageous, but really they're afraid people will find out that they're not perfect. You have
Mm-hmm.
the one on the flip side who knows they're not perfect and is like afraid to try anything and like that kind of fear. So you have multiple kinds of fears.
Right, 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 right.
I love that.
Oh. Rock says, what if one is cursed to the day and one is cursed to the night? How their
Ooh,
powers work so they aren't together until they break the curse.
interesting.
Cool.
I like the idea of there being a curse. That's fun.
Yeah.
How are we going to decide anything?
Oh no. This is definitely going to be again the most messiest, you guys, because once we sort of have our character and their need and their um
It'll
want
drive
and stuff, yeah, then everything will sort of fall into place more so when we get into the actual beats that we're going to do in the coming weeks. But thank you guys for like all your ideas and just jumping in with us and being fun.
Yes. Somebody says they like the idea of them being orphans. I don't know if you read that already.
Oh no. Okay.
Father from one race or mother from another. From the other, I mean, that could be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, all these ideas, we need to know our world to do it. Because, like, if we decide on elves, that's going to bring us one direction, shapeshifters another, or if we're doing both, or humans, we should nail down, well, not nail down, but brainstorm
Yeah.
our
Yep.
world.
Now, let us know, guys, from everything that we've said, what are you like most excited about to see plotted out? Like what kind of world and
Yeah.
like situation between the sisters are you like, let's do this one?
Yeah.
Um, Keelan says, I'm just gonna read a couple more. What if the shifters are like martial artists or monks and use it as an old learned magic that the elves can use? So one of the sisters was given to the shifters, the clergy, like at a very young age.
Love it.
Interesting.
That's the kind of like that's the stuff of an epic fantasy right there. Like all the fun, complicated, like very unique. I've never done an epic fantasy, but I feel like Brittany is, and you've totally got like the mind to wrap around that.
I'm my book's still not done though because it's so complicated still.
Oh, right. Wasn't your advice to like decomplicate? That's not a word, but to
Yeah,
like
simplify.
simplify a little bit. So for the sake of outlining, maybe we can try to could we nail it down to like say 1 to 3 groups maximum? So we're not going like because I could add everything.
Yes, no, me too. All right, I think, wow, this is a lot more to sift through than I thought. All right, somebody's saying shapeshifters into dragons.
Ooh.
Shifters seem really interesting. There's a folklore that twins can control the weather. Um, I think shapeshifters would be cool, and the curse of the day and night. Shapeshifters into dragons. Why not all? Because it's too complicated. That's not why. That's why we can't do everything. I like the monk idea, says Haley. Ryan says, don't do orphans, do one parent gone. And since the first parent died, the remaining parent is now emotionally unavailable. That type of thing hurts. Trust me, I know. Ryan, oh.
Oh, man.
If they're orphans, maybe they don't know that they have shapeshifter blood because they never knew who their parents were.
Can I throw out something super random?
Yes,
That
please.
I just noticed this, and Ryan's comment reminded me of my noticing it. All of my characters so far, well, up to a point when I noticed it, have been like parentless a little bit in some way, shape, or form. And I'm noticing that it's like a common thing because it kind of makes it easier to not, it kind of makes it easier to give them flaws and issues and like all the problems that we want them to have. So I was like looking into this with my latest book is like, how can I give them parents but still make them flawed? Like give them crappy parents and like give them parents who aren't focused on them. And like in this instance, if there was like a conflict in the ruler kind of reign, you know, like the kingdoms are against each other or something like that, then maybe the parents are so focused on that that their kids like wants and needs get shoved to the side, you know, like so keeping parents maybe, I don't know. That was just I was gonna throw that out there because I saw it. Somebody noted that as well in here to like have a health or have a family still as something they would like to see more often. And I thought that was really smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, side note, we can keep reading.
No, and that's like the thing. There's always like that's my hardest place, you guys, as a plotter, is like I start brainstorming and I'm like, I love like 5 of these ideas. I don't know which one to choose. Mary says, I like the idea of how one sister is an introvert and one is an extrovert when the introverted sister ends up outshining the extroverted one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's take, we need to start somewhere.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, we're already at like over half an hour. Just seeing the rest of this here, if there's anything. What if the parents are the antagonists? That's the other thing, like deciding who like is the antagonist, like internal, or is it like the parents are like the ones that are causing it?
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. That's cool. One sister has living parents and the other doesn't. Like if they were twins and one was like abandoned somewhere because they're like, we only want one kid, which is horrible, but that would be a bad parent right there.
Right. Or maybe like having twins is like a bad omen or something, you know, like or there's I think Bruno was saying there's like a prophecy, you know, so like maybe they try to get rid of
Ooh, oh, I like
um
that.
and maybe they sequester that orphan to like the monastery or something. Like maybe they know that that sister is like has the potential to like be like be awful or to be or all powerful, and so like they sequester her to like this place where she like has to learn how to like be demure and be like, you know, I can't like do this and I have to be like this and like
Yeah.
I don't know.
They could almost be if fear was one of the problems, they could be afraid of themselves. Uh,
Mm.
that's really cool. Okay, so we should start picking random directions and just know guys that we might change this later, but we're gonna like we want to like actually show you plotting. So we're
Yes.
just gonna start getting really decisive for now and we might change it later.
Yes. So we've got like a few different things that she talks about like at the end of chapter 1, right, with the checklist and figuring out like the hero. And so we want to say that the hero, we want to start with the theme, like Bethany said, so that we can start big and then get more specific. But were you just saying that maybe we should decide what types of
Like,
characters we have, and then like if they're together or if they're separate?
yeah, maybe just we could start with just knowing like say they are shapeshifters, for example, just nailing that down will help us know it's not actually a big thing now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it could change, but if we were to, I noticed most people are very excited about shapeshifters or elves,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of mermaids were in there too, which we already have though in our current story. So maybe, yeah, you could go so many directions. Oh my gosh, let's start with just one, like one person. So
Yeah.
if they were a shapeshifter, Or I don't want to pick without like
No,
asking.
I know. I know. Well,
Sorry.
let's start, guys.
Yeah.
This is the experiment. This is this is the craziness coming up. So people like elves. Ooh, dark elves. Ooh.
Like,
So guys, let's make a decision then. I guess like if they are on opposing um cultures, like
yeah.
so whether they're elves or shapeshifters, whether it's elves and shapeshifters or elves and dark elves or whatever,
Yeah.
are they like in opposing cultures and they don't know that they're sisters, or are they together or like in the same culture but like one has been like sequestered somewhere or abandoned or like given to like a different family and like they still don't know that they're sisters, but there's like a clash between like classes or
I love that.
like
So
that.
like it kind of sounds like we for sure want there to be a dark side and a light side, although not as clear. Like we don't want people to go, oh, this is clearly the best side to be on. We want them both to have good and bad,
Yes,
but two conflicting sides. And then it sounds like we both like the idea of putting the sisters into the different groups.
I think so.
I feel good about that. And then we can decide later. We're going to come back next week with our decisions, just so you guys know. But we're going to decide later, maybe like what those groups are. We're going to like maybe count your votes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then
yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I noticed that the biggest theme in the survey was to have strong female characters who's sassy and not afraid to be vulnerable. So I was like, that could be our like main MC,
Uh-huh.
if you like that.
Yeah. Okay. Someone says surprise triplets is fun. That'll be the surprise at the end where there's the third sister. What if the cultures start in harmony and then it's divided over the sisters?
Interesting. Like
Uh,
the idea of sisters being raised in different cultures. And then another one, I'm in for opposing cultures, but they know that they're sisters. So would that be like they've been raised to hate each other despite being family kind of feel almost?
they could. I'm not sure which I like better.
We don't have to decide. We can go back to the need, want, and problem and fix that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe we need to just. It's also complicated because we have two main characters, you guys. But like, let's start with one character, and just like go through in like the next less than 15 minutes. Oh my gosh! How did we get this far? What is one of the sisters like main need? What is their life lesson? So how can we pull like fear into their life lesson? And I'm sort of like referencing the end of chapter 1. What is their life lesson? What do they actually need? What will really fix their life? In their and is their need or life lesson universal? Which, yeah, we already have that because it's fear and everybody can relate to fear. So let us know what you think either of the sisters can be struggling with. What is like their main need that they need to learn throughout the story? Let's try to like get this done.
Yes, push through. So a fear is a need in the sense that they need to stop being afraid. So they could be pursuing it. We might need to know. I feel like I can see their want a little more easily in this instance, funny enough. So maybe it's like whichever comes first. But in this instance, the want feels like they would want to crush the other side because that's fixing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So wanting to either like annihilate and literally get rid of the other side or enslave them or just make them run away or something about getting rid of them.
What if, because we want to, it sounds like too, like we want to make one sister like confident and like extroverted and whatever, and one like sort of not as confident. So what if like the one who's not as confident, like her thing is to like get over her fear of or like finding courage, I guess.
Ooh, yes, finding courage.
You know? So like that one could like find courage, and the other one, what's the other one? She was listed in here. Overcoming fear, conquering fear. Maybe the confident one could conquer her fear of like needing, like of being replaced or of being like not
good enough.
Yeah, something like that. Afraid of rejection, someone says.
Okay. So that kind of fits under their, that I don't know where it is on your list, but their problem. So we're hitting the problem really well. So the shy, I don't know what to call these ones. I'll call the shy sister and the confident sister. The shy sister, her problem is she's coming into everything afraid and like reacting to everything and letting people tell her what to do and that kind of stuff. So that needs courage, like you said. And then the confident sister was not being good enough, so her want would be always to prove herself, maybe.
Yeah, like there was Melissa says that they're afraid that they're not worthy of being loved.
Oh yeah.
Or that they're strong enough, that they're that
Mhm.
they can be enough, like you said, I guess.
That.
One sister needs to overcome their fear of shifting. Write that down. I like that
I
too.
love that. Maybe for the shy sister, because I feel like she would probably avoid. She's an avoider, a turtle.
Yes.
So I'm rating that under flaws, avoider. I need like 2 columns because we have 2.
Yes.
We'll come back to these, you guys. We will.
Fear of losing the people they love.
Mhm. Write that down.
Peer pressure from different cultures. Fear of being different and having opinions that would be deemed as outrageous by society.
Ooh, that's good. It's really good.
Um, finding her voice and being scared to use it, or like finding her gift and being scared to use it. One of the girls needs to learn to control her shape-shifting abilities, fear of revealing the true self.
Love it. I love that. We might have to schedule a longer live next week.
Somehow.
Yeah. So knowing this, we've got ideas of, I'm writing down everything you guys that you've been saying to me from what people are commenting. So we're kind of getting this, the 2 sides, and the one sister, I think maybe she could even want to fix it. For instance, like maybe she's more merciful and like would like to fix it, but she's too scared because again, fear to say anything. So she's the avoider. And then we've got the one that's more of a conflict and aggressive. So now our question is, how much control do they have over their lives and what are they like? So they know their problems. How are they trying to fix it the wrong way?
Wrong one. Right. So
Yeah.
help us out, guys. How are these sisters, trying to, what is their want? What is their goal? But that goal is like ultimately not going to get them what they really need.
Yeah. And do they have any authority? Like, do we want to make them princesses, or one is a princess and one is like a pauper, or they're both kind of helpless and they're like maybe more soldiers living in a hut somewhere?
Zoe says, can we see your notes after? I'm curious how all the ideas will be organized. So if once we decide things, they're going to go in our ultimate story outline that is on a private page on our website that's linked down below. So when you sign up for the newsletter, you get a password to that private page and you'll be able to see the outline as we develop it over the next few weeks.
Good question. Very good question. So yes, that's exactly what we want. We want you to be able to see it. Yeah. The confidence and humility. I love that. So arrogance would be her flaw. I'm totally super arrogant. Have you guys read The Throne of Glass? I've only read the first one, but dang, I like her sass.
Want all this.
The confident one would crumble once public opinion against her turns. Oh, yes. So kind of flipping on what we talked about earlier, where their fears get flipped. Because usually when you start out, they need to transform, right? They need to come from like if they're starting out, I'm amazing, I'm awesome. They need to kind of transform to acknowledging that they're not perfect, maybe.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'll let you read some of them out loud, maybe.
Yeah. I love, so some of them are saying, they should be princesses, or one is noble and one is an assassin sent to kill her, which was similar to what we were talking about before. I'm almost like picturing the shy one being the one sent to to kill her, you know, and then that's when they meet so that like maybe that could be the catalyst.
Mhm.
I was already picturing them as like the two princesses of each thing. I don't know, Bethany, if
I
you were
like
already picturing that, but
it wasn't, but I like it.
yeah, because then like the stakes are really high because they have like control in their own realms of influence. Shawnee says, when will we get the password for that? Shawnee, when you sign up for the newsletter, you get a welcome email that gives you the password. And if it doesn't come to your email, like within a few minutes, just go to your spam folder, your promotions folder, and make sure it didn't get stuck in there.
Somebody says having the girls be generals sounds cool. I like that,
Oh,
Nicole. That's awesome.
yeah.
Mary says maybe one is more of a warrior princess, one is more of a prissy princess.
Yeah.
Yes, that's just such a good description for like it really gives you an image.
Yes.
I love it. Yes, yep. Quiet and introverted, but not actually meek. So the cool thing about Save the Cat that I was telling Brittany before is like it really does make sure that you give them a flaw. Because my weakness is to make a perfect MC. Like maybe they're a little bit this way, but this is why, and they're awesome. And so like we want to avoid doing that. We want to actually make them like whatever we nail down on. Like if they are arrogant, they don't get any like. But in this instance, they're nice. They're gonna always be arrogant, you know. And it's gonna get them in trouble because that's like their problem and their like learning curve. And if they're going to be an avoider, for instance, if we go that route, then they would need to like 100% avoid everything. So the assassin part might be tricky with that because I feel like if they're really against all conflict, that would be pretty conflicting.
But there also needs to be some kind of redeemable quality too. That's where like the save the cat moment comes in. So at least like even though we don't see them as like, oh, they're all good, there is like that little like, well, at least they like care about this person or they did this good thing kind of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we'll have to balance that out to like make sure, yeah, that they don't go like all the way one way or the other.
Right.
People are looking the generals or like really kick-ass princesses. Or assassin and princess. Okay, so we'll play with that. So guys, we have to wrap up in a few minutes. Guys, let us know what you thought about this. We also are going to tell you about our really crazy awesome news in like a second. But what Bethany and I are going to do is, and you can find this at the back of chapter 1 as you're going through your protagonists. But for us, this week we're going to finalize with all of these great ideas we've come up with. Who is our hero or our heroines? And Jessica Brody sort of gives like this checklist at the back of the chapter. So who's your hero? Someone who changes more than any other character in the novel. So that's really important. Yeah. What is their flaw? What's their biggest problem? Bonus points if they have more than one problem or flaw, and that it's rooted in some shard of glass. It's rooted in and manifests sort of like something that happened to them that's like sticking in them, that's like causing like all of these flaws and manifests into all the external problems. Then we have how it is affecting their lives right now and what's caused it, which is the shard of glass. So that we're sort of going to unpack like next week with our opening image and setup and all that kind of jazz. Mm-hmm. And then what they're going to want, what's their major goal of the whole story. How are they pursuing it? What blocks have blocked them from getting it? And what do they eventually need to learn and their greatest need? So there's a lot that we're going to try to nail down, and we're going to update that page on the website for any of you that are signed up for the newsletter. But we are also going to officially announce it at next week's video on Bethany's channel at this same time, probably next week. Yeah. And hopefully it'll be easier to go through after we have some of these details sort of ironed out.
And so every week, I just want to shout out that every week we'll be kind of like telling you our decisions. So we're going to go and mull over everything. And then you get to find out like if we picked your idea next week, and you get to find out like kind of the order of that section that we just went over. And then we'll kind of brainstorm anew the next chunk.
Exactly.
So just be prepared. You're right. It'll be less messy, but that's the time.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see next week. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, we're about to tell you our amazing, exciting, crazy news. So stay tuned, but I just want to let us know in the comments, did you enjoy this? Was it helpful? I know we're a little all over the place, but you guys are amazing. Yeah, if you'd like if you're excited to like keep going, and what maybe if you have any ideas of how to like make this flow even better next time, let us know. Or if you're watching this on the replay, let us know. But drum roll, please. Okay. Ooh, things are going over. All right. So you guys, you shared the Save the Cat experiment like crazy pants. That it got the attention of Jessica Brody. And Jessica Brody messaged us and was just like, you girls, this is an awesome experiment that you're doing. I want to support you. How can I support you? And we were like fangirling, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're like, what? And so after we fangirled, we talked to her, and basically she is going to help promote this. But the bigger thing is that she is coming on one of our live streams for this series. It's going to be May 1st, which is our second to last workshop kind of episode of this. And she's going to do a Q&A. So we'll have sort of reached up through to like the climax, like finale part at that point. And we're going to be able to ask her like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, this was great in your book, but can you, explain this? And yeah, so
we're going to ask questions, like bring your questions now, like start taking notes, because like, for instance, as we brainstormed, I realized my question is, do you really start with the hero or do you start with the world? And what does she do? And is it normal to do different things? And like, we want to talk to her about that and pick her brain. So, or other things like the sagging middle and like, what are her tips for that? So bring your questions and write them down each week.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's so great, because I was sort of like, oh yeah, we're just going to like write them like at the end, but I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I forget them? So that's a great point. Write your questions down now. And Jessica Brody actually has one of her novels coming out very soon as well. So you definitely want to check that out. I think it's Sky. I should have had it in front of me, but you should search her name and see what book is coming out for her and support her and see how she uses her own methodology in her own book. So that's gonna be really cool. You guys are freaking out in the comments just like us.
Yeah.
So exciting. So you're definitely going to want to track with us throughout this entire series so that you can come up with all the questions. Oh, there it is. What is it called?
Sky Without Stars.
Sky Without Stars, and it's a retelling of Les Mis.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's like, it looks really, really cool. So yeah. So, woo, yeah. Everybody in the comments. I'm so excited. Yeah. So you guys get to be all like cool in the chat box, and Bethany and I are doing here with Jessica be like, hi.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? Super chill.
Pretty much. Cool. All right. So anything else? I had so many notes here. Anything else we need to say before we?
I would just say next week, you guys it'll be on my channel next week at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whatever time you are in the world. Do the math. And then we're going to talk about the opening image, the theme stated, the setup, but of course, at the very beginning, we're going to tell you all about our hero, because we're going to have 2 of them and a world, hopefully. And they're going to be amazing. Wow. And you find out if they're sisters or twins or frenemies or, yeah, we don't know. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And you should also follow us on Instagram, because we're like on there all the time. And I have a feeling that if we're like sort of stuck between like 2 ideas that we really love, we're probably gonna like put a poll out on our Instagram stories and just be like, what do you think? And so let us know. Keep getting words because I'm like too excited. But
Yes, just keep an eye on that, because I love the polling idea. If we're just sitting there like, I don't know, we're going to ask you guys. So it'll continue all week long.
So awesome. So this was our first episode. We hope it helped you guys as well with your stories. And again, preparing if you're doing Camp NaNoWriMo. But we will see you next week, same time, but different place, because we'll be on Bethany's channel. And yeah. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you later.